Good morning, dear friend. As the first light of dawn gently brushes against the quiet edges of the world, something sacred awakens in the soul. The hush of morning carries a softness the night cannot hold and a stillness the day often forgets. In this holy pause between darkness and daylight, when the earth stretches into silence and the wind slows to a whisper, the heart becomes more honest. Here, in the quiet breathing of a new day, heaven feels just a little closer. Perhaps you woke up today carrying more than your body could rest from. Perhaps the night was long not because of time, but because of the weight you bore in silence. Maybe you are navigating a storm no one else can see, a loss unspoken, a fear unshared, a prayer unanswered. You might be the one who smiles in public but weeps in private. You might be the one who does not even know what to pray anymore because the words have grown tired and hope seems thin. I once sat beside someone who had just lost everything she called home. Her voice trembled as she spoke of how quickly life unraveled, how suddenly peace turned to panic. She clutched a letter that marked the end of a chapter and kept rereading the lines as if searching for a loophole to reverse it. But there was no loophole, only pain, only questions, and in her silence, I heard more than grief. I heard the sound of a soul searching for something deeper than comfort. She was not just asking for answers. She was longing for presence. Maybe you understand that feeling too. Not just wanting things to get better, but needing someone to sit with you in the middle of the not better. That, my friend, is where prayer begins, not with perfection, but with honesty, not with lofty words, but with a lifted heart. It is not about having everything figured out. It is about showing up just as you are, in the raw places of your story, and daring to believe that God is already there, waiting. The prayers we will walk through are not just words. They are moments of surrender. They are steps toward healing. They are quiet rebellions against fear and despair. They are whispers of faith spoken even when the voice shakes. In each prayer, you will not be told how to fix everything. You will be reminded that you are not alone in anything. Because prayer is not about escaping life as storms. It is about anchoring your soul to the one who never leaves you in the storm. So I invite you now to pause. Set down whatever burden you are carrying, if only for a moment. Let the distractions hush. Let the rushing stop. This is not just another morning. It is an opportunity to begin again, not outwardly, but inwardly. You do not need to pretend to be strong. You do not need to hide the H. Just open your heart as gently as this new sunrise, and let truth enter where fear has lived. Let grace speak where guilt has lingered. Let peace rise where pressure has built. This is your sacred moment, your holy beginning, not a performance, not a ritual, but a conversation, you and God, a soul and its maker, a whisper rising in the light of day. Let us walk into this day together with reverence, with honesty, with expectation. Let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, I come before you at the beginning of this day with a heart that is awake but heavy. The morning light has arrived, yet inside me there are shadows I cannot deny. I do not come to hide them from you, because you already see what I struggle to name. I come as I am, tired in places sleep could not reach, quiet in places where words feel fragile. This new day stands before me like an open road, and I confess that I do not feel strong enough to walk it alone. There are thoughts that followed me through the night and refused to let go, worries that settled deep in my chest, questions that have no clear answers. I feel the weight of yesterday still pressing on my spirit, and the uncertainty of today waiting ahead of me. Father, I do not want to pretend that I am fine when I am not. I do not want to rush past this moment with shallow words. I need you here. Not later, not after I feel better, but now, in this honest place where my soul is bare. As this day begins, I admit my weakness without shame. I admit my fear without excuses. I admit that there are parts of me that feel empty, parts that feel confused, and parts that feel worn down from trying to be strong for too long. I have carried expectations that were never meant for me to hold alone. I have replayed conversations that already ended and imagined outcomes that have not yet arrived. My mind has been busy, my heart restless, and my spirit thirsty for peace. Father, I do not ask you to remove the morning or delay the day. I ask you to meet me in it. Meet me in the silence before my responsibilities speak. Meet me in the quiet before the noise returns. Let this moment be a place of truth, where I no longer resist what I feel, but place it fully into your hands. I lay down my defenses. I release the need to appear composed. I allow my soul to breathe in your presence. I acknowledge that I cannot guide myself with clarity today. My own understanding is limited, and my emotions shift like the light. I need your wisdom to rise higher than my thoughts. I need your presence to steady what feels unbalanced inside me. Even now, as the world awakens around me, choose to pause and remember that I am not required to have everything figured out before I come to you. I am only required to come. Father, look gently upon my heart as it is in this early hour. See the places where hope feels thin. See the places where disappointment has settled quietly. See the places where I am still healing from things I never spoke out loud. I bring all of it to you without editing, without fear of rejection. I trust that you are not disturbed by my weakness, and that you are not distant from my pain. As this prayer begins, let it begin with honesty. Let it begin with surrender. Let it begin with the simple truth that I need you today more than I need answers. I do not want to rush ahead of you. I do not want to carry burdens you never asked me to hold. I open this day by placing my soul before you, asking you to enter the shadows with your light, and to remain with me as this morning unfolds into all that awaits. Lord, I am still here. The sun has climbed just a little higher, but time has not moved me forward much. My body may be preparing for the day ahead, but inside, I am still standing in the same quiet space where I met you moments ago. And now, with the same trembling heart, I come again not just with my need, but with a plea. I need your direction today. Not advice. Not options. I need clarity that only comes from you. I need you to go before me, because I cannot take one step with peace if I do not know you are in it. You know how easily I get lost not just in the world, but in my own mind. I spin thoughts around like I am solving a puzzle, but most days, I only tie myself in tighter knots. I try to weigh pros and cons, listen to logic, ask others for input, and yet somehow, I end up in the same restless place. It is not that I lack information. It is that I lack assurance. And the only place I have ever found that assurance, Lord, is in you. So here I am, asking you to lead me. Whisper to me through peace. Pull me back when I move in haste. Nudge me forward when I hesitate from fear. Please do not let me walk into anything today that you have not blessed. Do not let me stay in anything that you have already left. If I turn left when I should go right, speak to me before I get too far. If I rush ahead when I should have waited, interrupt me gently. You are not a God of confusion. You are not a God of pressure or chaos. You are the God who leads with stillness. And I am desperate to be still enough to hear you. Father, I know you are not hiding from me. It is me who so often moves too fast to notice your voice. It is me who lets the noise become louder than the whisper. I do not want to repeat that today. I want to hear you early and clearly. I want to start this day in step with you, not trying to catch up later. And if that means slowing down before I act, I choose to wait. If that means saying no to something that looks good, but does not feel right in my spirit, I will trust the pause. Train me, Lord, to follow your prompting, even when I do not understand it in the moment. I release my desire to know everything in advance. I release my fear of making the wrong move. I release the pressure to always have a plan. What I want most is not control. It is communion. I want to walk with you, not ahead of you. I want to hear your voice in the details, not just the big decisions, but the small ones too. The way I speak, the way I respond, the choices I make when no one is watching. You care about it all, and I want to care about what you care about. If I grow distracted today, bring me back. If I start to rely on my own reasoning, remind me that even the wisest thoughts mean nothing without your breath on them. Remind me that peace is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of you. If I have peace, I can walk anywhere. If I do not, even the most promising road will feel empty. So guard my heart with that peace. Let it be my compass. Let it be the sign that I am walking with you. I ask you, Lord, to quiet the voices that are not from you, the voices of fear, doubt, pressure, pride, people-pleasing. Help me to recognize when those voices are leading me off course. Help me to return quickly. Without shame, you are not asking me to be perfect. You are asking me to be available. And I am here now. Available. Attentive. Listening. If there is something you want me to do today, say it in a way I cannot miss. If there is someone I need to encourage, bring them to my mind with clarity. If there is something I need to release, make the letting go undeniable. I trust you to speak, and I trust myself to follow, not because I feel capable, but because I believe you will not leave me to figure it out alone. God, I do not need a loud sign or a dramatic moment. I just need to know you are with me. That is what gives me courage. That is what keeps me grounded. I may not know what this day will hold, but if I know you are holding me in it, then I can walk through anything it brings. So speak, Lord. I am not just asking for your opinion. I am asking for your leading, not just for help, but for presence. I do not want to chase after clarity more than I chase after you. I do not want to idolize answers. I want to follow the one who is the way, the truth, and the life. I want to be known not by how well I figured things out, but by how closely I followed your whisper. Let your spirit be my guide today, not my fear, not my ambition, not my past mistakes. Just you. I choose trust over control. I choose surrender over stress. I choose to lean into you instead of leaning on my own plans. I believe you see further than I do. I believe you care more deeply than I realize. I believe you are already in every place I will walk into today. So I say it again, with more weight than before. Lead me, shape my steps, speak into my waiting, stay close in the silence. Let your voice be louder than my doubt. And if today brings choices I did not expect, paths I did not plan for, or moments that leave me uncertain, anchor me again. Let peace guard me like a hand on my shoulder. Let your word be the light that breaks through my questions. Let my first instinct be to turn to you. You are not a distant advisor. You are my shepherd, my counselor, my ever-present help. Lead me in a way that I will not only hear, but follow. Let today not be wasted on self-dependence. Let it be marked by surrender, by alignment, by walking closely in step with you. I do not want to just make it through this day. I want to move through it with purpose, clarity, and peace that only your guidance brings. That is my prayer, Lord. That is my cry for direction. Father, as I wait here in this quiet stillness, with my heart leaning into your direction, a memory rises within me like the gentle tide. It is not loud or urgent, but it returns with weight and meaning. I remember what it felt like to be near you in ways I cannot always explain. I remember moments when my heart burned with joy that had no reason, when peace came before answers, and when I felt so certain you were right beside me, even if no one else understood it. And today, as I sit with uncertainty and longing, I cannot help but miss that closeness. I cannot help but whisper inside, "Bring me back." You know how time has passed, how life has shifted, how routines have become noisy, and how the fire has sometimes cooled into embers. But you also know what still lives beneath the surface. You see the longing that flickers through my distractions. You know the ache behind my confidence. You hear the silent questions that sound like this: where did that intimacy go? And how can I return to it again? God, I do not want to just remember you. I want to encounter you again, like I did when the world felt still and my soul knew where home was. I want to feel that tender weight of your presence like I once did in the middle of the night, or in the middle of a worship song, or when I opened my Bible and a single verse unraveled my entire fear. I miss the tears that came easily, the silence that felt full, the way even my breath felt like prayer. I do not want to chase nostalgia. I want to awaken what still lives inside of me, the flame that has not gone out, only grown tired from wind and time. So I return to you, not as a stranger, but as a child remembering her way home. I return with all the clutter, all the detours, all the things I tried to carry without you. I bring them back and place them at your feet. I do not know how to recreate what I once had, but I know you are the same, and I trust that you know how to lead me back not to a feeling, but to a place of fellowship that no season can erase. If something within me has hardened, soften it gently. If the pace of life has dulled my hearing, help me slow down. If I have let disappointment speak louder than truth, quiet its voice. Remind me who you are. Remind me of how you came before in the ordinary, in the stillness, in the unexpected. Show me again that you never left, even when I grew distant. Let me find you not by reaching farther, but by turning inward to the place where you still speak. There are sacred moments etched into my memory that I now hold up to you not as a demand, but as a reminder of what my soul longs for. I remember the breakthrough that came after long waiting. I remember the strength you gave when I had none left. I remember the words you whispered that changed my whole day. I remember the way you quieted my fear not with facts, but with presence. These memories are not just stories. They are altars, proof that you dwell with me even in silence. And now, as I stand in a different season, I refuse to believe that those days are behind me. I believe you are still speaking, still moving, still leading, even when it feels more subtle than it used to. I choose not to measure your closeness by how emotional I feel. I choose not to demand that you move the same way twice. I believe that even in the dry places, you are watering something unseen. That even in the dark, you are near. So awaken my spirit, Lord, not with loud signs, but with that gentle familiarity I once knew. Stir up what has settled. Break through the numbness with quiet glory. Return me to the place where your voice is enough, where my soul leans in even when nothing around me changes. Let me become aware again not of answers, but of you. Let your nearness become my comfort again. Let my memory lead me not into sadness, but into hunger. If I have allowed bitterness to bury wonder, forgive me. If I have grown too used to doing life on my own terms, draw me back. I do not want to live off of memories. I want to create new ones. I want to wake up days from now and say, I met him again today. He came quietly, but I knew it was him. I want to walk in the kind of closeness that breathes through each part of my day, the kind that turns simple tasks into sacred moments, the kind that does not wait for a crisis to call out, but lives every hour with open hands. Teach me how to return, not by striving, but by resting, not by fixing myself, but by yielding. Teach me to trust that you are more committed to closeness than I am, that you are not waiting for me to perform, but for me to be still, that you remember the altar even when I forget how to rebuild it, that you are always ready to make new wine out of old vessels. I open myself to you, not to replicate a past experience, but to meet you in a new way that fits this day, this season, this heart. I do not need everything to feel the same. I just need to know that the God who met me then is the God who meets me now. I let go of my timeline, my way of measuring progress, my desire to force a moment. I simply say, I miss you, and I want more of you. Let this longing lead me deeper. Let it not fade in routine. Let it shape the way I speak to you, the way I listen, the way I live. Let it awaken not just feeling, but awareness. You are not just a memory. You are here, and I choose to lean in, not to what was, but to what you are doing now. Help me notice you again, in the quiet, in the still breath between moments, in the kindness of someone I might have overlooked, in the scripture that feels new again, in the way my heart softens when I slow down enough to hear. Let this be the day I remember as the day I started noticing again, not waiting for fire from heaven, but opening my heart to the whisper I once knew so well. Bring back the awe. Bring back the tenderness. Bring back the simplicity of knowing you are near, and that nothing else matters more than that. This is my prayer, not to go back, but to go deeper. Not to feel what I once felt, but to know you more truly, more fully, more presently than ever before. Not because I deserve it, but because you are good, because you are near to those who seek you with all their hearts. Because even now, I believe you are already answering this longing in ways I cannot yet see. Lord, if you are rekindling what was once alive within me, then I must be willing to let go of what keeps me too busy to burn. As I remembered the sweetness of your nearness, I felt something loosen, like the grip I have had on how I think my days should go. And now, still lingering in that quiet longing, I bring before you the part of me that clings most tightly, my need to control time, to plan outcomes, to orchestrate the rhythm of my day in ways that often leave no space for your interruptions. You see my lists before I write them. You see the appointments, the tasks, the quiet pressure beneath each minute. You know how quickly I fill every line on the page, how easily I measure my worth by productivity. You see how I rush past wonder in the name of efficiency. And yet, I hear you gently asking, what if I want to do something different with today? What if my agenda does not match yours? Will you follow? Even if it means letting go of what you had planned. So, God, I bring you my schedule. Not the cleaned-up version, not the one I pretend to submit but still secretly manage. I bring you the real one, the calendar full of expectation, the hours I already claimed as mine, the places where I act like Lord of my own time. I surrender them, not because I have to, but because I want to make room for you to be Lord, not just in spirit, but in the details of my day. Teach me to hold time with open hands. Teach me to see every hour as sacred, not just the ones I call quiet time. Make me aware that the ordinary parts of my day are the places you often speak loudest. If you ask me to pause when I would rather move, let me obey. If you ask me to shift my priorities, even when it costs something, let me trust that what you give in return will be better than what I am trying to protect. Help me release the idol of perfect planning. Let me not mistake order for obedience. Let me not cling to routine so tightly that I miss divine appointments wrapped in inconvenience. I do not want to live so rigidly that I grieve your spirit by ignoring what you are trying to do through disruption. I do not want to resist you when you are trying to slow me down to see what I would otherwise missed. And when the unexpected comes, as it always does, let me meet it with grace instead of frustration. Let me pause and ask, Lord, is this you? Are you trying to shift something in me, not just around me? Are you using this interruption to draw my eyes back to you? Are you protecting me from something I cannot see? Make me sensitive to those moments when you are asking me to stop measuring time and start listening. Father, remind me that surrender is not weakness. It is the doorway to wonder. It is the space where miracles often begin, not in crowded plans, but in yielded hearts. You are not limited by time the way I am. You are not bound by schedules or clocks. You move at the pace of purpose, not pressure. And I want to walk with you, not rush ahead just to check a box or prove something to myself. Rearrange what needs to be rearranged today. Cancel what is not appointed by you. Extend what needs more room. Fill the open spaces with peace instead of anxiety. And even when I do not understand the shift, help me trust that you see the whole picture when I can only see the next line on the page. Let me see delay not as punishment, but as protection. Let me see detours not as failure, but as divine redirection. Let me see waiting not as wasted time, but as time set apart for something greater. Shape my perspective so that I do not view every change of plan as a loss. Shape my spirit to embrace flexibility as faith in action. If you want to use a canceled meeting to give me rest, I will thank you. If you want to rearrange my to-do list so that I spend time with someone who needs encouragement, I will follow. If you want me to step away from the noise and simply sit with you in silence, I will quiet everything else to make that space. Whatever you have for this day, I choose to see it as holy. Every part, even the parts I did not plan. And when I feel the tension rise, when I feel the pull to take control again, help me pause. Help me breathe. Help me remember that nothing done outside of you can truly bear fruit. I do not want to build anything in this day that will not last. I do not want to chase what impresses others but leaves me empty. I want the kind of day that may look simple on the outside, but is saturated with your presence. Let my yes be reserved for what you have called me to. Let my no be firm when the Spirit says not now. Let my time be spent in step with eternity, not just filled with activity. You are not measuring me by how much I accomplish. You are shaping me by how much I trust. So take the hours ahead. Take the quiet ones and the chaotic ones. Take the ones I feel confident in and the ones I feel completely lost inside. Walk with me in them all. Remind me that you are not just God over mountaintop moments, but over grocery lines, long emails, messy rooms, tired conversations, and small decisions. Be the rhythm beneath everything I touch today. And when night comes, and I look back on this day, let me see more than what I finished. Let me see where you led. Let me see where I said yes to something I did not plan, but you did. Let me feel that quiet joy of knowing I did not just get through another day. I walked it with you, even if the world calls it simple. Let heaven call it faithful. That is the day I want. That is the schedule I give you. That is the surrender I offer, trusting that what you fill will be far more meaningful than what I try to control. Not because it is easy, but because it is holy. And I want holy over busy, presence over performance, purpose over pressure. Always, Father, if I have handed you my schedule, then now I must also hand you the part of me that is harder to name, the pain I have learned to carry quietly. There are things inside me that time alone has not healed. Wounds that I wrapped in silence because I did not know what else to do with them. Hurts that became part of my rhythm, stitched into my habits, hidden behind strength. I do not say them out loud often, not because they are gone, but because I have grown used to their weight. But you know, Lord, you always have. Even when I tucked the ache beneath distractions, even when I smiled through it, even when I told myself it was too small to matter or too old to bring up again, you never looked away. You never minimized the pain. And now, in the safety of this quiet morning, I choose to open my hands and let you see what I have kept hidden. There is a kind of healing that can only begin when truth is spoken. And though my voice may shake, I want to speak honestly to you, not with polished prayers, but with the raw pieces, the questions I never asked, the grief I never grieved, the words that hurt more than I admitted, the memories I shoved into corners, hoping they would fade. I bring them to you now, not all at once, but one by one, as I am able, and I trust that you are not in a hurry. God, I do not want to carry emotional bruises into every new day. I do not want to filter my present through past harm. I do not want to respond out of reflex that was born from pain. I want to be made whole, not just functional. I want to be free, not just managing. I want healing that goes deeper than the surface, healing that touches where the wound first began. There are places in me that flinch when love gets too close, places that expect disappointment because disappointment has become familiar, places that doubt joy because joy felt temporary before. And I know that if I do not let you touch those places, they will keep shaping how I live. So I invite you in, even if it stings a little, even if the healing is not instant, even if it means feeling things I have buried. I believe you are gentle. I believe you do not force healing, but you offer it with kindness. I believe you know how to tend to the broken parts of me without shame. You do not rush me. You do not label me by what hurt me. You see beyond the damage. You see who I was before it happened and who I can still become through your restoring love. So I name the hurt. I name the betrayal. I name the abandonment. I name the fear. I name the heartbreak, the loss, the silence that followed. I name the loneliness, the feeling of being unseen, misunderstood, overlooked. I name it all because what is named can be healed, and you are the healer. You are not afraid of my pain. You are not intimidated by its depth or duration. There are words I needed to hear that never came. There are moments I needed comfort and found none. There are times I reached out and was met with coldness. And some of those wounds shaped how I see myself, how I see others, even how I see you. But I do not want to live bound by those moments anymore. I want your truth to rewrite what pain tried to define. I want your love to speak louder than the echoes of hurt. I invite you to go deeper than what I say, to go into the parts of me that still brace for pain, the parts that tense up even when peace is offered. I do not want to keep living as if I must protect myself from healing. I do not want to resist what I desperately need. So I give you permission to uncover what I have layered with coping. I give you access to the tender spaces I rarely let anyone see. If forgiveness is part of my healing, show me. There are people I need to release, not for their sake, but for mine. Give me the grace to let go. If there are memories I need to revisit with you, so they can be seen through the lens of truth instead of fear, walk me through them gently. If I have believed lies about who I am because of what I endured, speak your truth until the lies lose their grip. Remind me that healing is not weakness, that tears are not failure, that allowing you to mend what is broken is not a step back, but a step forward, that there is no shame in needing time, no shame in needing you again and again for the same wound until it no longer bleeds. You are patient, you are present, and you know the pace my heart needs to walk. If today is the beginning of deeper healing, I welcome it. If today is a day to simply acknowledge what still hurts, I welcome that too. I will not compare my process to someone else's. I will not rush what you are doing just to feel finished. I will wait on you, trusting that you never begin a work in me that you do not intend to complete. And in the waiting, I ask for signs of restoration. Let joy return in places where sorrow has settled. Let laughter break through the silence. Let hope feel less like a distant wish and more like a rising sun. Let peace visit me at unexpected moments, and let me recognize it as your hand. I believe that every scar tells a story, but not every wound is meant to remain open. So I place mine in your care, believing you will turn pain into testimony, sorrow into strength, and brokenness into beauty. I believe there is more ahead than what I have lost behind. I believe that healing is not just for others, it is for me too. So here I am, Lord, with every unspoken H, every quiet bruise, every unseen tear. I lay them before you like an offering, not because they are pretty, but because they are real. And I trust you to meet me here, not with judgment, but with mercy, not with lectures, but with love. Do in me what only you can do, not just surface relief, but soul-deep healing. Healing that rewrites how I walk, how I speak, how I see myself and others. Healing that restores wonder where cynicism crept in. Healing that does not erase the past, but removes its power to define my future. Healing that is slow if it must be, but sure. Healing that is quiet, but lasting. Healing that looks like freedom. Father, if healing begins where honesty lives, then I know the next step is learning how to live differently after the wound. I am still tender from what I have uncovered, still catching my breath from the release of what I held in too long. But as the weight lifts, something gentle rises in its place, a longing, not just for relief, but for peace. Not the kind of peace that depends on circumstances or silence around me, but the kind that anchors deep within, the kind that walks with me into everything I face next. I do not want to just be healed. I want to be led by peace. You said in your word that you are not the author of confusion, but of peace. So I bring you my questions again, not to demand instant answers, but to ask for your presence to be the compass in them. Let peace become the voice I listen to, the gate I pass through, the signal I follow. If something in my spirit stirs with unrest, let me pay attention. If something settles me, even when I cannot explain it, let me recognize your hand in it. I want to be so familiar with the way peace feels in my soul that I will not be fooled by counterfeits. God, I confess that I have often chosen momentum over peace. I have followed opportunities because they made sense on paper, not because they were blessed by you. I have pushed through discomfort instead of pausing to pray. I have made choices to keep others pleased or to keep myself comfortable, even when something inside me felt unsettled. But now, I want a better way. I want the kind of life where I pause long enough to ask, is peace here? Are you in this? When everything around me calls for speed and reaction, teach me to choose stillness. When decisions come quickly, remind me that peace is never in a rush. When pressure builds and opinions swirl, let me step back and breathe before I speak. Show me how to make space for your peace to rise, to calm the noise inside me before I move forward in anything. Let peace not only lead my choices, but shape my posture. Let it settle in my tone when I speak. Let it rest on my face when I listen. Let it guide my responses when I am misunderstood or challenged. Let it hold me steady when fear tries to push me into panic or performance. Let peace become more than a feeling. Let it be the atmosphere of my inner life. Father, I ask you to rewire the way I react. When conflict comes, let peace speak before anger does. When I feel insecure, let peace remind me I am loved. When I face things that are unclear, let peace reassure me that I am not alone. Let your presence be so near that peace is no longer something I search for, but someone I recognize walking beside me. I need peace in the places that still feel uncertain. Peace in the relationships that stretch my heart. Peace in the waiting where outcomes remain unknown. I need peace when I open my eyes to headlines I cannot control, when I hear news that stirs anxiety, when the world shakes and the ground beneath feels thinner. Let your peace cover those places, like a blanket, not to hide from the world, but to stay rooted in it without being shaken by it. Teach me to protect my peace without withdrawing from love. Teach me to guard it without building walls. Let peace lead me to deeper compassion, not avoidance. Let it strengthen me to serve with gentleness and courage, not escape from tension. I do not want peace that makes me numb. I want peace that makes me whole. And when the peace leaves, let me not ignore it. Let me pause and ask why. Let me check my heart, my motives, my direction. Let me realign with what is true. Let me trace the absence of peace back to its cause, whether it is a lie I believed, a path I took without your presence, or a burden I picked up that was never mine to carry. Then lead me gently back to the still waters. You are the God of peace, and I am learning to be a person of peace. It is a practice, a surrender, a posture I choose daily. It is not passive, it is powerful. It shapes how I enter rooms, how I carry burdens, how I speak to myself and others. It is not always loud, but it is always real. And when I forget, when I lose my balance, when I let the noise in again, Remind me that peace is always one pause away, one prayer away, one breath in your presence away. Let peace meet me in the morning and walk with me through the hours. Let it sit beside me in meetings, in traffic, in conversations that feel hard. Let it wrap around me in moments of quiet and moments of chaos. Let it steady my hands and my thoughts. Let it lead me not just to answers, but to rest. And if there are places I go where peace cannot follow, let me have the courage to turn around. If there are habits or commitments that constantly drain peace from me, show me. If there are people whose presence only fuels unrest in my soul, give me wisdom in how to love without losing myself. I do not ask for peace to make everything easy. I ask for peace to make me grounded, whole, and awake in the middle of a world that spins fast and forgets what truly matters. So I breathe now. Lord, I let peace settle over my shoulders like the morning light across the sky. I do not chase it. I receive it. I do not earn it. I trust it. It comes from you, not from the absence of difficulty, not from perfection, but from nearness. You are the Prince of Peace, and you do not give as the world gives. You give a kind of peace that remains, even when storms rage and questions remain unanswered. Let this be how I live today, not by force, not by fear, not by routine, but by the gentle, unwavering leadership of your peace. Let it go before me, speak within me, and remain behind me when the day is done. And if all else feels uncertain, let this one thing be sure: you are with me. And because of that, peace is never out of reach. Father, as peace settles more deeply within me, I begin to notice another presence that has shaped my thoughts for far too long. It does not arrive loudly, yet it has guided many of my choices. It speaks quietly, persistently, and often sounds like wisdom. But it is not. It is fear. And now, in the stillness you have given me, I realize how familiar its voice has become. I have listened to it so often that I sometimes mistake it for my own. Today, I ask you to help me unlearn what fear has taught me. Fear has narrated my expectations. It has warned me not to hope too much, not to trust too deeply, not to step forward unless I am certain I will not fail. It has convinced me that disappointment is safer than desire, that distance is wiser than vulnerability, that control is protection. And I see now how subtly it has shaped the way I live. I have called it caution. I have called it realism. But beneath those names, it has kept me guarded, hesitant, and small in ways you never intended. Lord, I do not want fear to interpret my life anymore. I do not want it to define what is possible, what is safe, or what is worth risking. I do not want it to be the lens through which I see you, others, or myself. I bring its voice into the light now, not to analyze it, but to release it. I am tired of letting fear lead conversations in my mind that end in retreat instead of trust. There are moments when fear sounds like memory. It reminds me of what went wrong before. It replays past pain and calls it wisdom. It tells me to stay where I am because moving forward might hurt again. But you are not the God of my past alone. You are the God of my present and my future. And I refuse to let yesterday's wounds write tomorrow a story. I want your truth to speak louder than fierce, rehearsed warnings. There are also moments when fear disguises itself as responsibility. It urges me to overthink, to prepare for every outcome, to hold back until everything feels secure. But I see now that fear never leads to peace. It only multiplies scenarios and steals the joy of obedience. It never asks me to trust you more, only to trust myself less boldly. And that is not freedom. God, help me recognize fear when it rises. Help me notice how it tightens my chest, speeds my thoughts, narrows my vision. Help me pause before I agree with it. Help me ask whether what I am hearing leads me closer to you or farther away. Train my heart to discern the difference between wisdom that comes from you and restraint that comes from fear. I give you permission to challenge the beliefs fear has planted. The belief that I am not capable. The belief that I am alone. The belief that if I fail, I will not recover. The belief that love always leads to loss. The belief that silence means abandonment. I lay these beliefs before you and ask you to replace them with truth that restores courage and clarity. Speak to me with your voice, not the voice of threat, but the voice of assurance. Remind me that you are present in uncertainty, that you are strong where I am weak, that you are faithful even when outcomes are unclear. I want to learn what it means to move forward with trust, not because I feel fearless, but because I know you are with me. If fear has kept me from saying yes to what you have been inviting me into, show me gently. If it has caused me to say no when you were calling me to step out, give me the grace to try again. I do not want fear to be the reason I miss what you are doing. I do not want to look back and realize I stayed safe when you were asking me to step into faith. Father, I know fear does not disappear overnight. It loosens its grip as trust grows. So I ask you to grow my trust, not in myself, not in circumstances, but in you. Teach me to take small steps of obedience, even when fear is present. Teach me that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to follow you despite it. Let your love interrupt fierce arguments. Let it remind me that I am held, guided, and known. Quiet the panic that rises when I feel exposed or uncertain. Let it steady me when I am tempted to retreat. I want to learn how to respond differently, not with avoidance, but with awareness and faith. There are fears I inherited, fears I learned, fears I absorbed from the world around me. I bring them all to you now. I do not need to name each one for you to heal them. You see the root beneath the reaction. You know where fear first found a place in me. I trust you to meet me there, not with judgment, but with truth that heals. Teach me to replace fear-driven thoughts with trust-filled ones. When fear says I cannot, remind me that you can. When fear says I will be abandoned, remind me that you remain. When fear says it is safer to stay silent, remind me that you give wisdom and words at the right time. I want my inner dialogue to reflect faith, not threat. And when fear tries to return, as it often does, help me not to fight it with my own strength. Help me bring it to you immediately. To say, Father, this is fear, and I choose not to follow it. I choose to listen to you instead. I choose to rest in what is true, not what is frightening. I am learning. Lord, I am unlearning patterns that once kept me guarded, but now keep me distant. I am choosing a new way of walking, one led by peace, shaped by trust, and anchored in your presence. Fear does not get the final word. It does not define my steps. It does not determine my future. Let today be marked by small acts of courage. Let me speak when I would have stayed quiet. Let me step forward when I would have pulled back. Let me trust when I would have doubted, not because I am strong, but because you are faithful. I do not ask to never feel afraid again. I ask to never let fear be my guide again. I place my mind in your care. I place my thoughts under your truth. I place my future in your hands. And I choose to walk this day not led by fear's whisper, but by your steady voice that calls me forward, reminds me who I am, and assures me that I am never walking alone. God, now that fear has been exposed and its hold loosened, I find myself standing in a new kind of quiet. Not the stillness that comes from calm surroundings, but the deeper kind, the silence that lives beneath the surface when the soul has let go of what once spoke the loudest. I expected peace to fill every space, but what greets me now is something softer, more mysterious. It is silence, and though it unsettles me at times, I want to meet you here. Teach me, Lord, to hear you in this hush. I have spent so much of my life searching for noise that confirms your nearness. I have looked for signs, for goosebumps, for words that feel dramatic or voices that feel profound. I have wanted you to speak loudly, to leave no doubt, but now I sense that you are not far because you are quiet. You are near in a way that makes me listen differently, lean in more slowly, and trust that you do not need to shout to be present. Father, help me not rush through the stillness. Help me not fill it with assumptions, distractions, or the pressure to perform. I do not want to treat silence like absence. I want to treat it like a sacred pause, a space where something holy is happening that I cannot yet name. I want to believe that silence can be as full as any answer. That sometimes the whisper is more powerful than the roar. You do not always explain yourself, but you always reveal yourself in time. You may not speak when I ask, but you never leave. You may not answer every question, but you always respond to every heart turned toward you. So I wait not with impatience, but with reverence, not with fear, but with expectation. Let this silence form something in me that noise could never create, trust without demand. Lord, in this stillness, my mind tries to fill the space with thoughts, tries to create meaning where you are asking me to simply be. I do not always know what to do with quiet. It can feel uncomfortable, exposed, but maybe that is the point. Maybe it is in the quiet that everything else falls away, the excuses, the noise, the roles I play, and what is left is just me, vulnerable and listening. Maybe this is the place you have been leading me all along. I am learning that silence is not a void to be feared, but a meeting place, a place where I stop striving, a place where I no longer try to impress you with words, a place where I remember you are not looking for performance, but presence. My presence. honest, unfiltered, still. This is harder than speaking, but it is more real. Teach me to trust what you are doing in the unseen. Teach me to believe that silence is not a pause in our connection, but a deepening of it. That just as seeds grow in hidden soil, so does faith grow in quiet places. That what is being formed in me now will bear fruit in time, even if I cannot feel it happening. I surrender the need to always feel something to believe something. I let go of the expectation that you must always move in visible ways to prove you are working. I choose to anchor myself in your character, not in my emotions. You are faithful. Even when you are quiet, you are close. Even when I cannot trace you. There are moments when silence feels heavy, like a space waiting to be filled. But there are other times when it feels like a blanket, covering me in peace I did not expect. I want to learn how to receive both. To know that even when words are few, your presence is full. To let my breathing become a kind of prayer. To let my stillness become an act of worship. Lord, if you are speaking in this silence, help me hear. If you are waiting with me in this silence, help me stay. If you are stretching my capacity to trust you in silence, help me grow. I do not want to run from this place. I want to learn from it. Let the stillness train my ears to hear the subtle movement of your spirit. Let it fine-tune my sensitivity to what matters most. If I begin to grow restless, draw me back. If I start to interpret your quiet as absence, remind me that you were always most present in the hidden places, in gardens, in caves, in deserts, on mountaintops. You often met people in silence before you spoke with clarity. You often shaped people in waiting before you released them with purpose. Let me not despise this still season. Let me revere it. You are not silent to punish. You are silent to prepare. You are allowing something in me to be refined not through answers, but through attention. You are teaching me to listen with more than ears, to notice with more than eyes, to believe with more than logic. You are teaching me to know you, not just know about you. I will not demand noise when you are offering presence. I will not settle for filling this space when you are asking me to hold it. I will let this silence form me into someone who walks more slowly, speaks more kindly, listens more deeply. Someone who knows that stillness is not weakness, but strength in disguise. Father, thank you for trusting me with this silence, for not rushing to meet my every request with quick response, but for drawing me into a slower, truer rhythm, one where depth matters more than speed, one where connection matters more than sensation, one where being with you is the point, not just hearing from you. Let me become comfortable with what is quiet. Let me lean into the stillness with faith, not fear. Let me trust that you are not just preparing me for something, but being with me in everything. And when your voice does come, whether as a whisper or a fire, I will be ready not just to hear, but to obey, because I have learned in the silence what it means to be near. Father, out of the silence, where I have learned to listen differently, I now sense a gentle stirring, a call back to something sacred that I once carried with consistency. The stillness did not leave me empty. It revealed what I have been missing, not in you, but in my daily rhythm with you. The altar. Lord, the place of meeting, of devotion, of steady communion. It needs rebuilding, not with stones or rituals, but with the quiet resolve to return, again and again, into your presence with intention. There was a time, God, when my soul knew where to go first. Before decisions, before reactions, before the weight of the day, I would find you in the morning like breath itself. That space belonged to us. It was not loud. It was not long, but it was real. And over time, I let the sacred slip into the margins. I allowed urgency to replace devotion, and routine to harden into habit without heart. I do not bring this as shame, but as longing. I want to build the altar again, not because you moved, but because I drifted. You have never required perfection in my pursuit of you. Only honesty. Only desire. And that is what I bring today, an open heart and willing hands to rebuild what time and tiredness slowly dismantled. Not in grand gestures, not in flawless discipline, but in simple, daily return. One step, one still moment, one open prayer. Let this be the beginning of something deeper than duty. Help me not to romanticize old routines, but to renew a deeper devotion. If the structure needs to look different than before, I welcome that. This is not about recreating the past. It is about planting something living in the present. I want the altar of my heart to be lit with authenticity, not obligation. I want it to be the place where I come not just to speak, but to wait, to receive, to abide. God, teach me how to build a rhythm that honors you, not one that burdens me with guilt when I miss it, but one that draws me back with grace when I stray. I want time with you to be the center of my day, not something squeezed into the edges. I want to pause with you, not perform for you. I want the kind of consistency that comes not from striving, but from love. If I am distracted, center me. If I am dry, refresh me. If I am inconsistent, keep calling me back. I believe that what starts small can grow strong, that what begins as a whisper can become a foundation. I do not need to build the entire altar in a day, but I can lay a stone this morning, and I will lay another tomorrow. And slowly, a place of communion will rise again in my life. Let this altar not be built on my performance, but on your presence. Let it be marked by grace, not pressure. Let it be a place where I remember who you are and who I am because of you. Let it be the space where I recalibrate, where I bring the pieces of my heart and let you shape them in truth. I do not want to only visit you in crisis. I want to dwell with you in constancy. Teach me to honor this space as holy not because of its size or structure, but because of its intention. Let it be set apart, whether it is a quiet corner or the time between breaths in a busy day. Let it be the place I come to realign, to surrender, to find joy again in simply being with you. And let it not be limited to one moment in the morning. Let it stretch into the fabric of my day, so that the altar is not a place I visit, but a posture I carry, When I sit in stillness, let it be worship. When I confess my need, let it be incense rising. When I remember your goodness, let it be the fire rekindling. When I offer you my day, let it be sacrifice. Let every moment become sacred when offered to you with a whole heart. Let every ordinary act be a part of the altar I am building with my life. Lord, if I have been waiting for perfect conditions to begin again, I release that now. I will not wait until I feel more spiritual. I will not wait until I have more time. I will start with this breath, this space, this moment. You do not demand more than I have. You only ask for what is real, and what is real right now is this desire to return. So I return to the early mornings when no one else sees, to the whispered prayers while washing dishes or walking between meetings, to the verses I carry in my heart like anchors, to the name of Jesus spoken not as routine, but as rescue. This is where I begin. This is how I rebuild, not in performance, but in pursuit, not in pressure, but in presence. Thank you for not shaming me for the times I neglected the altar. Thank you for always meeting me again, even when I come with nothing but silence and need. Thank you for being faithful, even when I was forgetful. Thank you for making the altar a place of welcome, not of punishment, for reminding me that devotion is not about how long I pray, but how open my heart remains. If I ever forget again, remind me gently. If I grow tired, sustain me. If I drift, draw me back. Let the altar be a place of restoration, not routine. A place where the fire never goes out, because it is tended with love, not fear. A place where you and I meet not because I earned it, but because you desire it. Let this rebuilding become part of my renewal. Let every brick laid in devotion be a step toward the life I long to live, anchored, aware, and always returning to the one who never left. And let this altar, however simple, become the most sacred place in my day, not because of what I say there, but because you are there, waiting to meet me in love again and again. God, if this journey began in shadows with honesty, with need, with trembling hope, then let it now settle here, not as an ending, but as a quiet beginning. After walking through valleys of surrender, through hills of silence and winds of healing, I have arrived not at a destination, but at a way of life, a life led not by fear or force or striving, but by your spirit, a life shaped by stillness and trust, by surrender and strength, by the quiet awareness that I am never walking alone. I no longer crave loud confirmations or dramatic signs. I have learned to listen for the whisper. I have learned to follow peace. I have learned that the altar is not a place I visit once in a while, but a space I carry within me, rebuilt, rekindled, alive. I have learned that faith does not always roar. Sometimes it breathes, and in that breath, you are there. The days ahead will still hold questions. The world will not slow down. My circumstances may shift, but I no longer measure closeness by clarity or blessings by convenience. I measure them by presence. Yours, mine. The sacred intersection between heaven's steady hand and my willing heart. The spirit-led life is not free of tension, but it is full of direction. It is not perfect, but it is anchored. It is not without pain, but it is never without purpose. And now, I ask not for more answers, but for more awareness of your nudges in ordinary places, of your voice tucked within silence, of your comfort in small mercies. Let me become the kind of person who moves when you whisper, who pauses when peace is absent, who chooses trust even when fear has a stronger argument. Let me not return to the patterns I once called normal, but were only familiar. Let me step forward from this place not with pressure, but with peace. There will be moments when I forget, moments when noise rushes in, when distractions pile up, when old fears knock again. But now I know the way back. I know the sound of your presence in stillness. I know the weight of peace that gently settles over decisions. I know the freedom that comes not from knowing everything, but from knowing you are with me. That is the way I want to live. That is the rhythm I want to carry. That is the light I want to follow each morning. Spirit of God, lead me not just in big moments, but in small ones, in hallway conversations, in long stretches of waiting, in laughter I did not expect, in pain I did not plan for. Let the path you draw be the one I trust, even when it curves. Let my ears be trained to your tone. Let my feet be quick to follow. Let my spirit stay tender to yours, even when my flesh resists. Let this be a living prayer, not just a morning one. Let me walk slower when you are teaching me something. Let me move boldly when you give green light. Let me remain when you ask me to stay, even when the world is rushing ahead. Let me forgive quickly, love deeply, give freely, speak gently, wait patiently, all because I am not walking by instinct, but by intimacy, not by calculation, but by communion. Let your spirit become not just a helper, but my closest companion. And as I begin each new day, let it begin here not with noise, but with noticing, with gratitude, with attention, with a whispered invitation. Spirit, lead me again, whether I wake in joy or sorrow, in strength or weariness. Remind me that I am held, that I have access to wisdom beyond my own, to love beyond my limits, to courage beyond my fear, that I am not called to survive the day, but to walk through it with you. Let the ones around me feel this peace before I say a word. Let my home carry the fragrance of prayer. Not perfection. Let my decisions reflect your gentleness. Let my words flow from a well that is filled in quiet. Let my life whisper of you, even in crowds. Let me become a vessel, a light, a quiet witness to what it means to live led by the Spirit. I thank you, Lord, for every step of this journey, for every pause, every H, every breakthrough, for meeting me in moments when I did not have the words, for teaching me that I am never too far gone to return, for showing me that this life Spirit-led, faith-rooted, peace-woven is possible, and more than that, it is promised. Thank you for drawing near even when I drifted, for remaining steady when I wavered, for calling me deeper instead of louder. And I thank you, with all my heart, For every person who has walked this path with me, for the ones who listened, who opened their hearts, who dared to come close to you in these quiet moments of prayer. May their lives be marked not just by belief, but by abiding, not just by truth, but by trust. May the seeds planted in these words bloom into something lasting, something sacred, something unseen but unmistakable. To you, dear listener, thank you for walking to the end of this path. Or rather, to the beginning. This was never meant to be a destination, only an invitation, a rhythm, a way to remember that God is near, that the Spirit still speaks, and that you are never forgotten, even in your quietest prayers. If these words have become part of your mornings, your healing, your renewal, then I thank God for the unseen work being done in your life. If this prayer has touched you, I invite you to share it. Share your thoughts, your own whispered prayers, your story of how God has met you in the quiet. Let others know they are not alone in their searching. Let the ripple continue. Let the altar grow. And if you have not yet, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. Return to these prayers as often as your heart needs. Let this space be a refuge, a reminder, a rhythm that holds you steady in a rushing world. Keep showing up. Keep choosing stillness. Keep believing that God meets us not just in fire or wind, but often in the hush of morning. Now breathe deep. Let your shoulders drop. Let the Spirit settle again around you. Let peace rise within. And as the first light of the day stretches across the sky, may your soul rise with it unrushed, unafraid, and fully awake to the presence of the one who walks with you, step by step, breath by breath, into a Spirit-led life